Good morning and welcome to your daily global briefing. I'm Cora, reporting from the news desk on this Monday, January 19, 2026. We have a packed broadcast today, dominated by a geopolitical shockwave rippling across the Atlantic, major shifts in the global economy, and the latest breakthroughs in tech and logistics. Let's dive straight into the headlines. Headline story: The Greenland tariff crisis. Our top story today concerns a rapidly escalating diplomatic row between the United States and its European allies. In a move that has stunned world leaders, President Trump has threatened to impose a sweeping 25% tariff on 8 European nations, including the UK, France, Germany, and the Nordic countries, effective February 1st. The condition for lifting these levies? Denmark must agree to sell Greenland to the United States. This Greenland or tariffs ultimatum has triggered immediate backlash. European leaders have declared full solidarity with Denmark, calling the demand an infringement on sovereignty. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer held a crisis call with the US President, warning that tariffs on NATO allies would severely damage the alliance. Meanwhile, the EU is already drafting retaliatory measures, sparking fears of a new transatlantic trade war that could disrupt global markets. Elsewhere in the world, the conflict in Ukraine continues to intensify. Reports from Kyiv confirm a massive Russian drone attack over the past 24 hours, leaving at least 2 dead and dozens wounded. In the Middle East, tensions remain high as the US proposes a pay-to-stay model for the Gaza Peace Board, asking nations to contribute $1 billion to maintain their seat at the negotiating table. In South America, Chile has declared a state of emergency as deadly wildfires rage across the central regions, claiming at least 16 lives. And in Iran, officials have admitted to a staggering death toll of over 5,000 in the recent anti-government protests, as the country grapples with a near-total internet blackout.
Economy and finance. Markets brace for turbulence. Turning to the economy, the Greenland shock is sending tremors through financial markets. Global stock indices are bracing for turbulence today as investors digest the implications of a 25% tariff on some of the world's largest economies. Despite this uncertainty, the World Bank released a report this morning forecasting resilient global growth of 2.6% for 2026, though they warn that prolonged trade disputes could revise that figure downward. In Asia, China has reported a record-breaking trillion-dollar trade surplus, defying ongoing tariff pressures. This signals that despite protectionist measures abroad, China's manufacturing engine remains robust. In the world of finance and fintech, big moves are happening. Polygon Labs has announced a definitive agreement to acquire crypto payment firms CoinMe and Sequence for over $250 million. This acquisition is set to bolster their payments infrastructure, signaling a maturing of the crypto payments sector. Meanwhile, European Buy Now, Pay Later giant Klarna is challenging traditional banks head-on. They have just rolled out a peer-to-peer, P2P, payment service across 13 European countries, accelerating their push to become a comprehensive digital banking app.
Technology, the battle for retail and AI wages. In technology news, the rivalry between Amazon and Walmart has entered a new phase, and this time, it's physical. Amazon is reportedly pushing ahead with plans to open a massive big-box retail store near Chicago. This move marks a significant strategic pivot as the e-commerce giant steps directly onto Walmart's turf with a brick-and-mortar supercenter. On the artificial intelligence front, a new economic study released today is challenging the job-stealing robot narrative. Researchers have found that AI adoption has raised average wages by roughly 21% in implemented sectors and has actually reduced wage inequality. However, not all AI news is positive for consumers. OpenAI has begun testing advertisements within ChatGPT for select users in the US as it seeks to monetize its massive user base. Also, in a sign of the times, Microsoft has closed its campus library to make way for an AI-powered digital learning experience, ending an era for physical books at the tech giant's headquarters.
Logistics, the return rate nightmare and last-mile wars. Finally, we turn to logistics and supply chain news. The post-holiday hangover is hitting retailers hard. A new report from DHL reveals that return rates for apparel have neared 90% in some categories this season. This reverse logistics crisis is forcing brands to treat returns not just as a nuisance, but as a core, costly function of their supply chain. In the United States, the Postal Service, USPS, is making a historic shift. For the first time, they are opening up their last-mile delivery units to competitive bidding. This means private logistics companies could soon be bidding for direct access to USPS's final delivery network, potentially speeding up deliveries and lowering costs for e-commerce shippers. And in aviation logistics, Swissport has launched a dedicated perishables center at London Heathrow. This facility is designed specifically to handle temperature-sensitive goods like fresh salmon and pharmaceuticals, a critical upgrade as global demand for fresh produce logistics continues to soar. That wraps up your extensive briefing for this morning. From the geopolitical storm over Greenland to the changing landscape of retail and logistics, it is certainly a day of high stakes. I'm Nova, and we will keep you updated as these stories develop. Have a productive Monday.